True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report.
Hello, Blue Nation. Welcome back to True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report. I'm Victor, bringing you the most in-depth analysis and the hottest news about our beloved Los Angeles Dodgers. Before we dive into what might be one of the fascinating evolutions of the season, I ask that if you love the Dodgers as much as I do and want to stay ahead of the news, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Your subscription helps our channel grow and ensures you never miss a critical update. Trust me, you won't want to be left out of what we're going to discuss today. Let's get straight to it. Because what we saw from Shohei Ohtani in his last start against the Cincinnati Reds wasn't just a good outing. It was a statement. It was a metamorphosis happening in real time on the mound, and it has massive implications for our October run. In 87 pitches, a season high for him, Ohtani notched 9 strikeouts and most impressively generated 14 of 29 swinging strikes on his curveballs and sweepers. The one statistic that truly jumps off the page is this: he threw 23 curveballs, which accounted for 26% of his total pitches that night. To put that into perspective, in his first 10 combined starts this season, he had thrown a grand total of just 11 curveballs. That's not an adjustment, that's a complete reinvention of his arsenal mid-season while coming back from a second major elbow surgery. I was watching closely, and it felt like he threw more curves in that single game than he had all year. Suddenly, a new elite weapon has been added to his already vast repertoire. In the first inning alone, I saw him vary his speeds from 76 to 99 miles per hour, flashing at least 7 different pitch types. Just when people were starting to question if Ohtani would be the same on the mound, if he was in a bit of a groove, the answer came resoundingly. He's not just recovering, he's evolving and becoming an even more complex and unpredictable pitcher. This discussion about the stress different pitches put on a pitcher's arm is complex. Some experts say full effort 4-seam fastballs place the most strain on the elbow. Others argue it's the breaking pitches like sliders or, ironically, the curveball that, due to the pronation of the forearm, can be more dangerous. The truth is, there's no definitive scientific consensus because every pitcher's mechanics are unique. If there were a clear answer, Tommy John surgeries would be far less common. What we do know is that Ohtani, under the supervision of the Dodgers medical staff, felt comfortable enough not just to reintroduce the curveball, but to make it a focal point of his attack. That tells me his confidence in his rebuilt elbow is at an all-time high, and he's ready to remove any limitations that might have remained. He's feeling good, and when Ohtani feels good, he's capable of things few in the history of this sport have ever achieved. For a pitcher, the more reliable weapons you have, the better you are. Unless you're Yu Darvish and you have to cut down from 15 pitches to 10 to maintain consistency, variety is lethal. And Ohtani is becoming more lethal with every start. What he's doing is extraordinary, essentially completing his rehab and building his stamina on the Major League Baseball stage against elite hitters, something most pitchers like Shane Bieber, for example, do over multiple rehab starts in the minor leagues. Bieber needed 7 starts in the minors to feel ready after his surgery. Ohtani is doing it under the brightest lights. This brings us to the million-dollar question every Dodger fan is now asking. Does a performance like this change our World Series chances? For me, the answer is an unequivocal yes. Before this start, the question about Ohtani was whether he could build up enough innings to be a reliable postseason starter. Now the question has shifted to, can he be our #1 ace in October? Can he be the guy who dominates a Game 7? The conversation about our playoff rotation has suddenly become incredibly more interesting. Let's line up the pieces. If everyone is healthy, who are our 4 starters for a 7-game series? Right now, the top tier consists of Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Glasnow has been a workhorse. Snell has the stuff to dominate any lineup, and Yamamoto is our big money ace, likely our Game 1 starter. That leaves one final spot, and the contest is between the legend Clayton Kershaw and the evolving phenomenon Shohei Ohtani. It pains me to say it, but based on pure stuff and dominance potential, Ohtani might have the edge. Kershaw has had his postseason moments, and his bad in the playoffs narrative is a bit overstated, especially in recent years. He's had good outings. However, Ohtani's arsenal with a fastball that nears 100 mph and now a devastating curveball might play better against the elite offenses we'll face in October. The major strategic limitation with Ohtani, as discussed, is the DH rule. For him to both pitch and hit, he has to start the game. You can't use him as a mid-game stopper without forfeiting his bat in the lineup for the rest of the game, which is a sacrifice Dave Roberts is highly unlikely to make. So, it's starter or nothing for him on the mound. The idea of using him as a closer in an emergency situation is tantalizing but a logistical nightmare, and something he hasn't been prepped for. So the decision comes down to who you give the ball to in Game 4 of a tied series. I believe the decision will depend on the matchup and the series format. If we get a first-round bye, it allows for more flexibility. But if we have to play a 3-game wildcard series, that depth becomes even more crucial. What this emergence of Ohtani gives us is a bonus we didn't have last year, an embarrassment of elite options. Instead of resorting to bullpen games out of necessity, we can deploy them strategically. Our pitching depth with Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Kershaw is arguably the best in baseball, and the reason we are the favorites to win it all. Alright, Blue Crew. Now we're shifting gears to the offseason because reliable sources are starting to whisper, and what I'm hearing could completely transform our team's makeup for 2026 and beyond. After a season that has had its challenges, particularly on outfield defense, it appears Andrew Friedman is gearing up for another blockbuster move. And all the signs or the insider chatter are pointing toward Byron Buxton, the Minnesota Twins center fielder, becoming the next superstar to don Dodger blue. Yes, you heard that correctly. The platinum glove defender, the 5-tool talent, the guy who has been one of the most electric forces in baseball when healthy, could be our guy next season. And if this happens, it's not just another roster upgrade, it's a game changer. Imagine for a second, Byron Buxton roaming the vast center field of Dodger Stadium, Tommy Edman sliding over the left field, and Michael Conforto. Well, packing his bags after a disappointing year. Stick with me because we're breaking down why this trade makes perfect sense, how Buxton fits seamlessly in Los Angeles, and what Andrew Friedman might be cooking up this winter. Here's the situation. The Minnesota Twins have gone from contention mode to full-blown rebuild mode in a matter of weeks. They shocked the league at the trade deadline, dealing away major pieces and signaling a complete reset. Now, reports from sources like Bleacher Report are pinpointing Buxton as the player most likely to be traded this offseason, and it makes perfect sense. He still has 3 years left on his contract, totaling $45 million. For an elite defensive center fielder with a power-speed combination like Buxton, that is an absolute steal in today's market. The only hurdle is his no-trade clause, but let's be honest, Buxton wants to win. And if there's one team that can convince him to waive that clause to compete for a World Series title, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's talk about the fit on our team. Center field has been a soft spot this season. Plain and simple, Michael Conforto was a low-risk gamble that unfortunately didn't pay off. With a batting average below .230 and a slugging percentage just over .400 with too many strikeouts in crucial moments, he wasn't the answer. Now picture this, Byron Buxton takes over in center. Tommy Edman, with his versatility, slots perfectly into left field. Instantly, our outfield defense goes from a concern to one of the best and most athletic in all of baseball. But Buxton isn't just a spectacular defender. This season, he's putting up numbers that jump off the page. A 276 average, a 350 OBP, and a .510 slugging percentage with 24 RBI shedding. Woody with 24 home runs and 75 RBIs. With a month of the season still to go. And we can't forget his elite speed. With 18 stolen bases and a sprint speed that still ranks in the 97th percentile across the league, he's a constant threat. He brings gold glove defense, power, speed, and clutch hitting. Everything we've been missing in center field since the MVP level days of Cody Bellinger. This move doesn't just add Buxton, it reshapes our entire lineup. Edman in left field maximizes his utility and keeps his versatile bat in the order daily. With Conforto gone, we open a spot for a true impact player. Just imagine this batting order. 1. Mookie Betts, RF. 2. Shohei Ohtani, DH. 3. Freddie Freeman, 1B, 4. Will Smith, C, 5. Byron Buxton, CF. 6. Max Muncy, 3B. 7. Teoscar Hernandez, LFRF. 8. Tommy Edman, LF. 9. Gavin Lux Kim, 2B. That is balance, power, speed, and rock-solid defense at every position. It's exactly the kind of team built to dominate in October. Now the crucial question, what would the cost be? It won't be cheap, nor should it be. The Twins will demand top-tier prospects, and the Dodgers farm system is one of the few that can meet that demand. We're talking about parting ways with a high-ceiling arm like Nick Frasso or River Ryan, who have top-of-the-rotation potential, plus maybe one or two high-upside position players like Alex Freeland or the young and promising Jondry Vargas. Honestly, for a player of Buxton's caliber, who when healthy is a 6+ WAR player, you make that trade without hesitation. Especially because paying $15 million a year for an elite center fielder is peanuts compared to what a player of that level would cost on the free agent market. The main argument against Buxton has always been his health. Yes, the injury history is a real concern. But Andrew Friedman and our front office have a track record of taking calculated risks on elite talents with injury concerns, Tyler Glasnow being the most recent example, and trust their best-in-class medical and training staff to manage these players. The potential reward, getting a true 5-tool superstar in his prime, far outweighs the risk, especially on such a team-friendly contract. Think of the impact this would have on the division. The Padres will try to make a splash in the offseason. The Giants are desperate to keep pace, and the D-backs appear to be taking a step back. Adding Buxton doesn't just make us a better team, it widens the gap between us and the rest of the NL West and firmly establishes us as the team to beat heading into 2026. So Dodgers Nation, I turn to you now. This is the big question of our offseason. Would you be willing to send a package of top-tier prospects to Minnesota if it meant having Byron Buxton patrolling our center field next year? Do you believe this is the missing piece? The move that puts us definitively over the top for another World Series run? I want to know your opinions. Drop your thoughts, your concerns, and your excitement in the comments below. If you're ready to see Buxton in Dodger Blue, smash that like button. And most importantly, if you haven't already, subscribe. The offseason is going to be insane, and True Blue Nation, Dodgers Report will be your #1 source for all the exclusive news and analysis. This is Victor, your diehard Dodgers fan, saying what we all know. Let's go Dodgers!